What's up, guys? Brett Okamoto from ESPN. I am joined by former UFC bantamweight champion TJ Dillashaw, who makes his much anticipated return to the octagon this weekend, main event of UFC Fight Night against Cory Sandhagen. And let's just set the scene real quick, TJ. It is, let's see, it's 12:30 Pacific time on Monday. I thought maybe I'd catch you at home, relaxing, spending a little bit of time with the family, but you're in the gym working out right up until the point you take off for Vegas tomorrow, huh? I mean, you got to stay. This is pretty typical for you to be doing hard workouts a week of the fight.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was hard, but definitely got a good sweat going. You know, I'm extra hydrated right now, so the sweat's easy and it's hot, which is nice. This is pretty normal. I'll probably work out twice a day, 2 easy ones though, and then head to Vegas tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and part of that is you got to make weight for the first time in a while. After a lifetime of making weight as a wrestler, you got to have a few years off of making weight. How's the process of getting back down to 135 pounds?
Yeah, I mean, I've been making weight since I was like 8 or 10 years old. My whole life, except for the last like 2.5 years. So it's last 2.5 years was nice to live a civilian life and not have to worry about cutting weight. You know, it's kind of weird. I mean, weight cut's pretty easy for me for the most part, but it was nice not having to worry about it.
I bet. Man. Yeah. How what's the biggest you ended up ever getting during this time off?
168 pounds, and that's the biggest I've ever been in my life. But that was because I was trying as hard as I could to gain weight. It was a good solid weight. Me and Coach Cal, you want to say hi, buddy?
Okay.
Me and Coach Cal tried my hardest to put as much weight on as I possibly could, and it was actually quite fun to do some meathead workouts, eat as much as I could, eat right, you know. So it wasn't like a fat 168. I wasn't Fat Tyler. I was solid, you know.
What is the mood getting ready to head to Vegas and knowing that fight week has finally arrived for the first time in 2.5 years?
Oh, it's fun, man. You get the jitters, right? I mean, you'll never not get those, no matter what. You know, even when you're fighting 7 times a year, you're still going to get the fight camp jitters, and that's the fun part. You got to learn to enjoy those times, and so it's exciting for me to hit the road and focus on my fight, be the main event, get out there and show off.
You mentioned jitters. Is there, like, this is such a cliche thing to ask, right, TJ? But like after the time off and now you get it back, does it feel different in terms of did you take anything for granted prior to the 2 years that you took off? Did you, like, just the act of getting back in there and being, the attention being on you and getting to compete again? Like, did you miss certain things? Did you take anything for granted the first time around?
No, I didn't miss it at all. The 2 years was fun, man. Like, yeah. I had enough keep me busy with business and my 3-year-old. So, I've said it multiple times now that it was kind of a blessing to have those 2 years off and figure out what I'm going to do after fighting rather than having to figure it out when I'm done. You know, I now know that I'll be okay, and fighting is not what I have to do for the rest of my life to pay my bills. So it was nice to get myself set up. And the last 2 years, like I said, I didn't miss any of the tension. I didn't miss any of the jitters. It was nice to be a civilian. It was nice to live a normal life for a little bit, as normal as it can be, I guess.
Do you think it changes anything in terms of like mindset or pressure or nerves or anything now that, because I've heard you say this numerous times now, that you're not fighting for money anymore? Like, does it change fundamentally, like preparation or just mindset, knowing that you're fighting for different things other than the livelihood?
Maybe a little bit, right? A little bit less pressure on yourself, a little bit less pressure of how you're going to keep food on the table, how you're going to keep paying the bills. But ultimately, I'm as driven as I ever could be, right? Some people would say that like not having that pressure of having to win might take away some of the hunger to keep winning, but that doesn't affect the way that I prepare myself. I mean, Juan sitting over here right now will tell you that I will push as hard as I possibly, too hard actually, to get ready for a fight.
What are you looking forward to the most this week?
What am I looking forward to the most?
Yeah.
Maybe having this guy get to watch me on TV.
Yeah.
You know, he watches the fights now, and he knows that I have a big fight coming up, and I'm going to practice to get ready for my big fight. Now he's going to understand and get to watch it on TV, I guess. I guess that's maybe the most exciting. So after I get my win, I get to tell him this one was for him.
He's watching live?
Probably. I think our fight's early, so yeah, probably. If it was a normal time fight, he'd probably be asleep. But my wife's going to be at home watching it, so he'll be up with her.
I asked you this a couple months ago when the fight got made, and now since the fight is only a few days away, I'll ask you it again. Do you feel like is this in terms of like because of the storyline, because of you were suspended for 2 years, now you're coming back, and that narrative, do you feel like you have to prove something, like in a way that maybe in the past you didn't? That like, hey, I was that fighter, I was that good. It wasn't any of my mistakes. Like that was a one-time thing. Like, did you feel like you got to prove something, or does it feel pretty close to what it did like before?
I mean, I think that question is there for other people. I know the truth, and I don't really care, so I'm not going to add that pressure to myself. Which I already have. I mean, even before any of the bullshit, I still had pressure on myself. I mean, having that scared pressure is what makes you the best, right? Like I have that pressure going into every practice. I have that pressure going into every round. I don't want to lose a round. I don't want to lose a scramble. I don't want to lose a sprint. And it all is be driven from that scared pressure I put on myself, right? But as long as you can hone that scared pressure in the right way, some people get scared and freeze up and not perform. I'll get scared and turn into an animal and see red and go for the finish. So it's all about controlling it. And you want to be scared. You want to have pressure. It's just about knowing how to deal with it.
I'm sure you're not spending a whole lot of time monitoring this, but what is like the attitude of the fan base been towards you? Are they still angry about what you did, or are they just more excited to see you back? Like what kind of sort of anticipation do you get from people?
I'm sure both. I mean, I've seen both. I haven't really paid attention too much. It's something that I've learned throughout my years of fighting in my career. No matter what, you're gonna be the villain, right? I mean, especially my narrative when I've been going against Team Alpha Male and all the bullshit, and I'm failing a drug test. So of course I'm gonna have it, But that's just the reality of being in the limelight. It's the reality of. I mean, look at. Everyone hated Conor McGregor until he became the man, and everyone loved him, and everyone wants to hate on him again. It's just the name of the game. It sucks. You hate to see the tide swing just because you're riding the high or you're riding the low, and that's what the fans are going to do, no matter what it is. I'm going to go out there, win this fight, and everyone's going to fucking forget about what happened. It's stupid, So just know what you have in front of you, the life that I live, the family that I have, the achievements that I've reached, and just be happy with it. If that makes sense.
Oh, it does. Yeah. And real quick, when you talked about Conor McGregor there, I wasn't anticipating asking you anything about him, but because he has been he has had some sort of impact in your career, I guess. I mean, he had an impact on a tattoo that you have. So what did you think about what happened with him over the last couple of weeks and really over the last couple of years? Like, what do you think of the whole Conor thing?
The last one, it kind of sucks to see him go down the way it did, right? I want to see a fight ending with healthy bodies. You never want to see a guy break his leg, and that's just so unfortunate. And now's the time I want to root for him the most because he's on the lowest low. Coming off some losses, coming off a broken leg, like I'm like the opposite of what I think a normal fan would do. A fan's gonna ride when he's on his highs, but I'm rooting for him now to come back and prove himself again.
Last thing on just sort of looking back at first off, I'm sure that over the last 2 years you anticipated that whenever you came back that was going to be a big focus, like right before you came back. Do you still feel that way? Do you get the sense that like when you come to Vegas that people are going to be talking about this, asking you about it, that it's sort of the story around your comeback, or do you think it's
my failed drug test?
Yeah.
It'll always be probably a little bit. I mean, after until I get this win past me. But another reason why it's so important to be upfront about everything. I've been upfront since day one. As soon as it was announced, I've been upfront about it because putting it behind me. And I'm not only putting it behind me so I don't have to answer it anymore, but also putting it behind me because it's like therapy. You go to a therapist and talk about what's bothering you. You talk about what's weighing you down, so you don't have those problems weighing you down anymore. And it's something that I've gotten past. It's not weighing me down anymore because I've been so open about it. So, you could say I was open about it and that was the right thing to do, but I think it was the best thing to do for myself.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that people are saying about it still that bothers you though? Like because you've been honest over the last 2 years, is there anything left to say about it? I guess is another way to ask that. Like, do you feel like there's anything else that you can say about it? Or do you feel like you've said it, you've given the full story, and now it's like, does anything still bother you about what anybody says about it?
I wouldn't say it bothers me. I mean, things that kind of get overlooked because it's so, we easily point towards the negative. Oh, sorry, I have a phone call. I'm going to decline this.
Yeah, all good.
There we go. things I've said in my interviews and that get overlooked because they only look at the negatives is that, it's like kind of like saying that pressure coming into this. Am I only who I was because of what I did? But everyone needs to know that USADA did their job and they put me under a microscope and they went back and tested every sample that I had on record, retested it. And so I got put under that microscope and they wanted to make sure that I wasn't cheating in the past, and you can go back. It's all very public. You can go online and check it out. It is what it is. I went through everything with flying colors other than becoming little man showing off his muscles now, I guess.
The camera's
Show
come
the
out
muscles.
before it comes off, dude. I love it.
Oh,
yes.
But yeah, I guess that's kind of it, but it doesn't really bother me too much.
What are your thoughts on ring rust?
Ring rust. I think it's a real thing if you don't put in the time, right? If I just took these 2.5 years off and just decided to jump into an 8 to 10 week camp, yeah, I'd probably have some ring rust. But I'd say the most time I had off, but even though I was still in the gym when I had shoulder surgery, helping coach Juan was during those shoulder surgeries. But other than that, I've been grinding in the gym. I've been helping Juan get ready. I've been helping these other fighters get ready. And now I've had seriously the longest camp of my life. I thought I was gonna be fighting the beginning of the year just because that's when my suspension was up. So I started training pretty hard at the end of 2020. Fight didn't get booked until May. And then that got pushed back because of my cut, my eyebrow 13 days before the fight. It's now we're not fighting until July. So I've been in a long camp. I've been smart about taking the time off at the right times and making sure I don't overwork myself. But if I were not have done that, maybe there'd be some ring rust, but I'm feeling great.
This isn't unique to you. This is something that all MMA fighters come at, because in MMA there are no tune-up fights, right? And I know that you were you wanted the championship fight right off the bat, so it's not like you were asking to be just kind of let back in slowly. But once you knew that the championship fight wasn't an option, is MMA almost shoot itself in the foot? Should there be tune-up fights? Like, should we like it is a lot to ask for a guy to just come back after years off and face a guy who's just been on fire, I mean, what are your thoughts on, like, would a tune-up fight have been at all beneficial to you?
No, I turned down tune-up fights. I didn't want it. Just wasting time. I guess maybe how about your wallet, right? Make some quick cash again. But and you can't think of any fight as a tune-up fight. I don't care if I'm going in there and fighting the guy's debuting. You got to treat it like it's a title fight. You got to treat every fight like it's the biggest fight in the world. Everyone's always like, "Oh, what's your biggest fight?" This and that. It's like your next fight. Your next fight's always your biggest fight. I don't care who it is. The sport of MMA is anything can happen. You got these little 4-ounce gloves on. You get hit in the right spot, right time. You got to go in there and treat every fight like it's a title fight. When I overlook people, when I look past them and I'm a huge favorite, that's when I get in trouble. Like when I went out there and thought I was just going to run through Henry Cejudo, he came out aggressive. Lots of times I get in trouble. So I got to go into fights scared. I got to go into fights thinking the worst, right? Believe in the best, but thinking the worst.
When you look at Sandhagen's style, was it a difficult one to prepare for? A lot of us are using words like unorthodox, unpredictable, things like that. I mean, was he more challenging to prepare for than maybe kind of just like a traditional sort of straightforward guy?
No, not necessarily. I mean, he's athletic. He's got some very good tricks up his sleeve. So you always got to be aware of that. But just like everyone, he has things he does great, you're going to counter. He has things he doesn't do very well, you're going to take advantage of. I think that's how you become the best, is being so well-rounded. You can take the fight and do anything. You can be a different fighter every round. You can be a different fighter every fight. Just like how George St. Pierre was able to be a different fighter from fight to fight. He's able to use his jab against Koscheck. He's able to use his top pressure against BJ Penn. He's able to be these different fighters from fight to fight. And it makes game planning really easy. I'm not like a one-trick pony to where like I only have stand-up, right? Or I only have grappling, or I only have wrestling. Being able to do everything, your game plan can switch, and you can be really effective about doing a game plan. These guys that only have one super strong background, they can't set up game plans, because they have to go around what they're best at. I don't have to worry about Cory coming out and taking me down and submitting. There's things like I have to worry about him being flashy and moving, throwing spinning kicks and throwing kicks at me and having crazy footwork, right? I don't like. It's scarier when you go against a guy that can do everything. When a guy that like, shit, I don't know if he's gonna take me down. You know, I don't know if he's going to stand and brawl with me. I don't know if he's going to throw spinning kicks. And the great thing is I can do all of it. And that's the fun part. You know, I'm gonna take him down, beat his ass. As soon as he's afraid of getting taken down, I'm gonna use that to knock him out. You know, and so that's when it becomes hard to game plan for someone.
Does he remind you at all of Cruz? Like when you were getting ready to fight Cruz in 2016, are there similarities, or are they two completely different guys?
Yeah, I tried using. I mean, I used Cory a lot for my Cruz fight because of his footwork and his motion and stuff. You know, I was in Colorado at the time, so I used him a lot for that camp as much as I could with him wanting to show up. And you know, he's in a different mindset now. He's a little bit tougher now, but I'd say like, yeah, I'd say he uses his footwork well. He's actually better at it. I think he's got better, more effective footwork than Cruz. Cruz has just got footwork to have footwork, right? And Cruz got good timing, and he's got good unorthodox movement. But Cory's got movement with purpose. You know, he's got a lot more purpose behind his movement, so you got to be aware of that.
I know
which is almost easier to game plan against, because when you fight someone that's very technically good, it's almost easier than with someone that's kind of all over the place and throws haymakers and you know, those things you're not used to.
Yeah. Well, and also I remember Cruz, and I mean, not to bring up you know, some old wounds, I suppose, but it was like with Cruz, you had to kind of think about like, how am I going to win on the scorecards? How am I going to make sure that the judges know who's winning this fight? You probably don't have the same concern with Cory, right? I mean, do you feel like one way or another, like this is going to be a definitive, there's going to be more like definitive scoreable action? We're going to know who's winning this fight?
Yeah, I'm going to finish him for sure. With Cruz is one of those fighters that I would say he's not as technically sound, but he's more well-rounded. You know, where Cruz took me down 3 times in the fight. I think they were like for a split second, but you know, maybe I got overly aggressive and I let him time a shot on me. Or that's not going to be the case. You know, I hope it is the case. That'd be hilarious, but that's something I don't have to worry about. You know, so when you talk about game planning, I think Cruz is probably harder to game plan for, because he's going to switch up his timing. He's going to switch up his levels. He might try to take me down, things like that. You know.
I know I was hoping for fans in this for this event. I know you were too. But we are getting a little bit of fans back. The UFC opened it to a few hundred, I believe, which is great. But how about for you? Like, do you get to bring family members? Do you get to have like your support system there? Or is it kind of like
not that I know of. I mean, I need to ask Tiki that question actually. But as far as I know, no. I mean, I have some friends that paid for some VIP tickets. You know, they were on that list to get into there to the fight. But I don't know if I get anyone to come. I'm not really sure. I should probably actually ask that question today.
Yeah, I'll find out.
I'm not really worried about it. You know, it's actually kind of nice. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass having to worry about getting people into the fight, or who can I get tickets, this and that. Be like, sorry, it's closed up public. I don't have to worry about someone asking me for tickets. You know,
it makes it easy. Yeah, and you don't even have to come up with lies, because that's the truth. Yeah, I can't get you.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, sorry, there's no more tickets left. But yeah, so I don't have to worry about anything anymore.
Yeah. So what does the rest of the year look like for you? You beat Cory Sandhagen, and then what? You chill, you wait, you hopefully maybe you got interest in attending Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan. I mean, it's weird, right? You've been off for so long. I would think you'd want to be active, but you're in a spot where you win this fight, and the title's right there. So how do you see the rest of the year playing out after this one?
Yeah, man. I mean, it really depends on when that fight's going to happen, right? Like, I'd like to get that belt back as soon as possible. But if Aljamain's going to have to take more time off because of his neck, then I might be fighting someone else again. I don't want to sit too long, right? Like, I definitely want that title fight next, but I'm just going to come back, and I think this is a real title fight anyway. He's beating Sandhagen. To me, I'm just going to treat it like I'll fight the best, just like I did when I thought I beat Cruz. I was fighting number 1 contenders while he was fighting number 5 and number 8. I'll do the same thing. You know, I'll fight the Rob Fonts. I'll fight the guys that are top 5 if I have to. You know, if those guys are going to sit back and wait too long. You know, continue to prove myself and build my name and collect some checks.
Wow. Okay. Last thing I'll ask you is most people never get to be asked a question like this, but you have had the experience of winning the UFC championship twice. You did it in Vegas. You did it in Madison Square Garden in a huge fight against a rival. So you've had those experiences. In a perfect world, ideally, where, when, and who would you take the belt from for your 3rd UFC championship?
Dang. Well, it's good. It's most likely going to be Petr Yan. I mean, if those guys are even still fighting again, I see Yan definitely winning against Sterling. So I'd say Petr Yan. Man, what's the next big arena? I mean, I've fought in Staples Center. I've fought in Madison Square Garden. I've defended in Chicago. Shoot, what's another big arena? Yeah, T-Mobile. I mean, let's go to the Raiders Stadium, right? That'd be dope.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.